I got Life After Lust, guys. Alright, it's called Life After Lust by Forrest Benedict. Stories and strategies for sex and pornography addiction recovery. Forrest Benedict, LMFT. Whatever that means, huh? LMFT, ACTP. Sex addiction therapy practitioner. Advance acclaim for Life After Lust. Forrest's book, Life After Lust, is a valuable contribution to the sex addiction treatment field. Dr. Mark Lacer, pioneer in the field of sex addiction recovery, author of The Fight of Your Life, president and founder of Faithful and True. Forrest Benedict offers a fresh resource for pornography addicts and those struggling with other forms of sexual addiction. His framework of mindset, mastery, and mission goes beyond the familiar principles of recovery to focus extremely on self-care in a way that's lacking in most resources. Life After Lust is an extremely practical and specific book that is rich with Benedict's humility and lessons learned in his personal recovery process. As a clinician who works extensively with female sex addicts, I especially appreciate that Life After Lust includes women among those who struggle. I highly recommend this book and I'm grateful to have it as a preferred resource. Marnie C. Furry, LMFT, CSAT, author of No Stones, Women Redeemed from Sexual Addiction and director of Bethesda Workshops, a Christian-based intensive program for sex addicts and their partners. LMFT is a licensed marriage and family therapist. So it's a bachelor's degree in related fields. Acts as suitable preparation for an aspiring licensed marriage and family therapist to enter a graduate program in psychology or social work. So I thought SAPT meant sex addiction therapist, but it's substance abuse prevention and treatment. That's what that could mean. Life After Lust is an honest and helpful read for those trapped in the fear and pain of pornography addiction. This book challenges men and women to take responsibility for their behavior, providing practical tools and next steps on their healing journey. Craig Gross, founder of XXXChurch.com. Forrest Benedict's Life After Lust is a personalized and important contribution to the field of sexual health. He shares his personal story of recovery from porn addiction in a way that both educates and motivates the reader. Robert Weiss, LCSW, CCAT-S, Intimacy Disorder Specialist, author of Out of the Doghouse, a step-by-step relationship-saving guide for men caught cheating. LCSW is a licensed clinical social worker, and a CSAT is a certified sex addiction therapist. The -S, I'm not sure what it's for. So I'm completely new to the world of therapy, so I kind of want to read this. Psych Central blog. What is a certified sex addiction therapist? CSAT, Frequently Asked Questions, by Linda Hatch, PhD. What is involved in becoming a CSAT therapist or counselor? Certified sex addiction therapist. First, an important point to remember is that only those therapists who are already licensed or otherwise credentialed in their particular counseling field, psychologists, clinical social workers, marriage counselors, pastoral counselors, are eligible to enroll in the CSAT training. Certified sex addiction therapists take appropriately 4 weeks of intensive training with faculty of the International Institute for Trauma and Addiction Professionals, IITAP, which describes its membership as follows. We are comprised of licensed mental health professionals, IITAP, International Institute for Trauma and Addiction Professionals, IITAP certified sex addiction therapists, trauma EMDR clinicians, AASECT sex therapists, and BBS supervisors. The CSAT training designed by Dr. Patrick Carnes and others involves gaining expertise in assessing the level and type of sexual dependence, the client's sexual and trauma history, and an assessment of family of origin issues and other addictions and addiction interactions that may be present. Next, there is training in using a highly manualized 30-task approach to treatment designed to be followed in individual and group sessions, as well as being consistent with any 12-step help program for addiction. Following the training, the trainee is required to get 30 hours of supervision by CSAT supervisors of actual clinical work with sex addiction clients prior to certification. There are also continuing education requirements for renewal of the CSAT certification every 2 years. However, each therapist is also under the jurisdiction of their state board and or professional licensing body for professional requirements or disciplinary issues. Can CSATs address things that other therapists might miss? Yes. Other therapists and doctors may not assess for sex addiction. If a client does not complain about their sexual problem, the practitioner may miss the signs and may not ask the right questions. For example, a client may complain of erectile dysfunction and be treated in a variety of ways, when in fact ED is a frequent result of compulsive porn use. This kind of ED goes away after a period of abstinence from porn and does not necessarily require any other treatment. In addiction, there are differences in approach to clients with known sex addiction issues. CSAT therapists may be much better able to break through the addict's denial and deception. They will know when the timing is right for group therapy support and when and how to assist in the making of full disclosure to spouses and partners. Sex addiction therapists will be versed in evaluating and addressing multiple addiction situations or addiction interactions, e.g. sex and drugs, sex and eating disorders, etc. See also my blog, What Happens in Sex Addiction Counseling? ? One of the most important things that a non-CSAT therapist may miss is the fact that sex addiction is not a byproduct of relationship problems. Many people seek couple therapy and continue in couple therapy when the problem of sex addiction must be addressed before couple therapy. Also, seeing sex addiction as a relationship issue can implicate the spouse or partner in a way that is inappropriate. Seeing sex addiction as a relationship issue can implicate the spouse or partner in a way that is inappropriate. Can CSATs rule out alternative diagnoses? Diagnoses? Yes. CSATs are therapists first and sex addiction specialists second. In addition to assessing for sex addiction, they can and do perform an overall clinical interview and may do other testing and gather other information as well. All licensed counselors and therapists are trained to be sensitive to the presence of issues that may lie outside their area of competence and consult about it and refer out to other doctors or specialists when necessary. We all are constantly attempting to update our knowledge of new findings that may suggest causes of sexual compulsivity, such as brain damage, other disease processes, or medication side effects. Are sex addiction therapists biased against sex? Absolutely not. See another post of mine devoted to this topic called, Is Sex Addiction Therapy Anti-Sex? The idea that sex addiction therapists are rigid or moralistic is false. That is not part of the training or approach. Can CSATs cure intimacy disability? Yes, but they address the sex addiction first. Sex addiction treatment has both short and long-term goals. In the initial phase of sex addiction recovery, the addict is becoming abstinent from his or her sexually compulsive activity in order to allow the body and brain to kick the addiction and to become stabilized. Next, treatment helps the addict work through the early relational trauma or other factors related to the addiction so as to prevent relapse and build the foundation for a stronger sense of self. This prepares the addict to enter into healthy intimacy. The later phases of treatment, recovery, i.e., from the second or third year on, involve a shifting of gears to focus on relationships, intimacy, and fulfillment in all other aspects of life. See also my blog, Will Sex Addiction Treatment Cure Intimacy Issues? Can CSATs treat the spouses and partners of sex addicts? Yes. In fact, most sex addiction clinics and programs work with addicts and partners both separately and, as appropriate, together. There are also specific intensive outpatient and inpatient programs which treat spouses and partners of sex addicts and specific clinicians who specialize in the treatment of partners and spouses. Can I trust that a CSAT-trained person will be a good sex addiction counselor? Most likely, yes. CSAT training is a subspecialty. It adds an area of expertise and experience, but it will not make a bad clinician into a good one. I used to believe that credentialing did more harm than good, and that people were better off judging for themselves how helpful or harmful a given practitioner was. But I also know that people seeking therapy may not be together enough initially to be confident in their own ability to make such judgments. It helps to know that a clinician has had the right kind of training, but unfortunately there's still an element of judging for yourself and getting additional opinions. Alright, well, there's a lot more to dive into there about therapists. I know way more than I did before. Life After Lust is a thorough and thoughtful guide to recovery from sex addiction. In it, Benedict provides a step-by-step roadmap for the journey from addiction to freedom. Douglas Wise, PhD, President of the American Association for Sex Addiction Therapy. Forrest Benedict's book, Life After Lust, is a gift for those struggling with problematic sexual behavior, those who love them, and professionals who work with them. Forrest provides the reader with a uniquely important perspective on this complex issue. His personal understanding as a fellow struggler, blended with his professional wisdom and experience, gives us a powerfully credible voice of warning, practical healing tools, and a passionate message of hope. Dan Gray, LCSW, that's the licensed clinical sex worker, social worker, and CSAT, again, certified sex addiction therapist, co-founder of the Lifestar Network. Licensed clinical social worker, isn't that correct? I think I gotta relook at it. Yes, it is. Of course it is. I know. Let's admit it. Sexual addiction recovery is anything but simple and cannot be approached with a set of anecdotal answers. As a past sex addiction therapist practitioner, as a past SATP student, that was the substance abuse. It's probably not the substance abuse one. It's probably this one. Sexual Addictions Treatment Provider. SATP, Sexual Addictions Treatment Provider, student. As a past SATP, Sexual Addictions Treatment Provider student of mine, I couldn't be more proud of Forrest and this book. Forrest brings his own humble journey of recovery, along with a robust and scientific understanding of what works to bring real change for those who struggle in this area. His heart for others and appetite for learning have moved him from student to expert. Now he passes this on to you. You will experience hope by taking this journey with him. Todd Fry, PhD, LCPC, LCMFT, SATP-S, NCC Dean of Behavioral Sciences and Counseling, Mid-America Nazarene University. Wow, so much in that, on all that.
A doctorate in any discipline except medicine, or sometimes theology.
So PhD stands for Doctor of Philosophy. LCPC is a licensed clinical professional counselor. LCPC, licensed clinical professional counselor, is a professional who has been qualified to provide psychotherapy and other counseling services. LCPCs are trained to work with individuals, families, and groups to treat mental, behavioral, and emotional problems and disorders. So, licensed clinical marriage and family therapist. Training is completion of a master's program in marriage and family therapy. I just don't know what the -S is for, but the SATP is definitely sexual addictions treatment provider. And then what's the NC? So I'm guessing this NCC Dean is the of this Nassau Community College. Let's see what it says. Now here he is. Todd Fry, Mid-America Nazarene University. NCC Dean, there he is. Idaho State University, that's where he got his PhD. Northwest Nazarene University, he got an MED in school counseling, BS in psychology in 1992, Northwest Nazarene University. Now he's at Mid-America Nazarene University. Forrest Benedict is a skilled writer whose lyrical phrases delight and uplift this intense topic. Addiction savvy and trauma informed, Benedict never lets up on his fierce, loving message. Yes, you can do this. You will have to work hard to beat sex addiction, but I've done it, it's worth it, and I'm right here with you. Life After Lust is a must-read for any man, woman, or loving family member who needs unrelenting optimism and cutting-edge strategies that really work on the road to healthy sexuality. Stacy Sprout, LICSW. That's a new one. And the certified sex addiction therapist and author of Naked in Public, a memoir of recovery from sex addiction and other temporary insanities.
FAQs.
Licensed and independent. I wish I could have it stop. Licensed and independent clinical social worker.
Additional 3 years of training.
A social worker with an MSW, Master of Social Work. In addition, an additional 3 years of training. LICSWs tend to specialize in family and marital counseling. PsyD, a doctor of psychology, is a professional doctorate degree. And here she is. She's a psychotherapist in Seattle, Washington. LICSW, CSAT. Stacy Sprout, Seattle psychotherapist, author and activist. She's got her own website, stacysprout.com. Life After Lust is a ready reference guide for sex addicts in any stage of recovery and the therapists who work with them. Throughout his remarkable book, Forrest provides a solid recovery path, a path that leads to connection with God, self, and others. I have treated sex addicts and their families for the past 29 years, and I look forward to using this book with my clients. I will recommend Life After Lust to addicts, clergy, and therapists. Todd Olson, LCSW, licensed clinical social worker, co-founder of the Life Star Network. You know what I have to do. There he is. So there's another Todd Olson that's not an LCSW. That's a celebrity, apparently. But this guy of the Life Star Network in Salt Lake City, Utah. There he is. That's what he looks like. Todd Olson. No, that's Dan Gray. This is Todd Olson. Todd Olson here. Forrest does a masterful job of touching on the root issues of sex addiction without getting too heady. But he also does an equally masterful job of providing tons of time-tested, practical counsel to male and female strugglers who need real handles. Rarely do you find someone who can do both and respect the reader's belief in God at the same time. This is an invaluable resource for counselors, pastors, and strugglers alike. Russell Willingham, Executive Director, Fresno New Creation Ministries, author of Breaking Free, Understanding Sexual Addiction and the Healing Power of Jesus. The first thing that shows up when you Google his name, Russell Willingham, is his book, Breaking Free. New Creation Ministries. This is their website, New Creation Ministries. This is the staff. This is the guy, Russell Willingham, Executive Director. Life After Lust is a resource to help reinforce you for a lifetime of healthy living. While it's not easy to stop a pornography or sex addiction, it's even more difficult to build a life of trust, intimacy, connection, and emotional health after years of addictive living. Forrest has taken a complicated and confusing process and organized it into an easy-to-follow guide. Knowing Forrest, he would love to sit down with each person who picks up his book and personally help them map out their own journey. Thankfully, anyone who reads this book will feel like they're sitting with him getting personal guidance and support. His compassionate and non-judgmental voice comes through loud and clear. He expects great things from his readers and offers encouragement and realistic goals to help people create a bright future. Jeff Sturer, MS, LMFT licensed marriage and family therapist, founding director of Lifestar of St. George, Utah, and co-author of Love You, Hate the Porn, Healing a Relationship Damaged by Virtual Infidelity. I want to read all these books next. I'm guessing a master's in sociology, that's what MS stands for. It's actually a master's of science. MS is a master's of science, typically awarded to graduate students in scientific or technical fields. And he has his own website as well, Jeff Sturer. There he is. Private counseling, online courses. Sex addiction destroyed my first marriage, so I was worried this book would be a trigger for me. But surprisingly, it was not. Benedict handles the topic in an incredibly powerful, insightful, yet sensitive manner. I am convinced that if more couples approached addiction recovery with these tools, there would be fewer divorces and less heartache. I applaud Benedict's courage in sharing his story and bestowing his hard-gained wisdom on others traveling this difficult path. I sincerely appreciate the emphasis on protecting children and standing against pornography. The chapter Dear Porn, A Father's Letter, is close to my heart and truly a call to arms. As a mother and activist, I face this battle every day. Forrest Benedict is a powerful ally in the fight. Melody, a Bergman writer, speaker, activist, mamacrossroads.com. Check it out, Mama Crossroads, positive parenting in a digitally saturated world. It's my turn to be brave. She wrote on October 12th, and she did an interview, Dear Porn, an interview for parents. Forrest Benedict, she did an interview on June 15th, 2019. The truth about motherhood, teaching modesty to children. This is a lot of good stuff. I believe Forrest's book, Life After Lust, is a valuable resource in the toolbox for every recovering sex addict. Forrest's approach is refreshingly straightforward and laid out in strategies that are easy to follow for anyone seeking sobriety. The personal attention Forrest gives from his own journey of recovery provides hope and encouragement to those who struggle with sexual addiction. This book will definitely be on my recommendation list for all my clients. Eli Mechin, licensed clinical social worker, pioneer in the field of sex addiction recovery, author, speaker, therapist at Show Up 365. First thing that shows up, he's got a Facebook, it seems, I think, maybe. Recreation Sports, no, it's someone else. This is the first one, a pioneer in the field of sexual addiction treatment for more than 25 years. Showup365.com. With nearly 40 years of experience, Eli Mechin is launching Show Up 365 to empower thousands around the world to effectively work recovery from addiction. My vision is offer hope, strength, and guidance for rebuilding lives and relationships. Building unshakable trust. Unshakable trust, Eli Mechin. Yeah. In his powerful book, Life After Lust, author and sex addiction therapist Forrest Benedict explores the depths of lust, infidelity, and sex addiction, sharing practical, proven insights and a well-paved road to freedom. In the book, Forrest vulnerably shares his own story of successful recovery, offering real hope for those wondering if life after lust is possible. I have worked with Forrest in the sex addiction therapy program, sex addiction treatment provider program, training counselors to help those trapped in sexual addiction. Forrest is wise, compassionate, and incredibly insightful, providing a voice of experience, knowledge, and leadership in our field. You know someone in your life right now who desperately needs to read this book. I give my highest recommendation and praise for my friend and colleague, Forrest Benedict, and his new book, Life After Lust. Jim Kress, MA, LPC, CSAT, master's degree, licensed professional counselor, certified sex addiction therapist. Life After Lust is a comprehensive resource that provides fresh hope. Whether you're new to this journey or you have been in recovery for years, this resource is for you. Life After Lust has practical tools to help sex addicts overcome lust, helping their loved ones understand the addictive experience as well. Forrest does an amazing job passionately and vulnerably sharing his personal and professional experience. He is a warrior fighting the battle against lust with his words and actions. Join him in the journey today. Corey Schwartzman, MA-LPC, SRT, Executive Director of Transformed Hearts Counseling Center, founder of the Sex Addiction Recovery Association, SARA, Masters, Licensed Professional Counselor, SRT. Is it sound recording technology? In Colorado Springs and in Denver, it seems they exist. Transformed Hearts Counseling Center. We offer on-site telephone and video counseling. I don't know, I can't find Sex Addiction Recovery Association. At least a site for it. They have other things. Life After Lust is an insightful read that validates the very real need for hard work, honesty, and personal responsibility in recovery. It is refreshing to find a book that is written openly and unapologetically for men and women caught in the snares of pornography and sexual addiction. Forrest's commentary is both timely and relevant. Lacey Alangna Bentley, founder of Women United Recovery Coalition, recovering relationship and pornography addict. Benedict offers a concrete, no-nonsense approach to overcoming sexually compulsive behaviors through looking in, looking out, and looking up for strength, support, and success in self-mastery, addiction recovery, and change. Anyone caught up in the snare of sexual addiction will benefit from using the tools within these pages. Deborah W. Grief, LCSW, licensed clinical social worker, SATP, sex addiction therapy provider, Lifestar, Boise, Idaho. I met Forrest when I was active in my addiction. He came alongside me, loved me, and led me into recovery. Forrest's heart for others is in this book. Life After Lust is a conduit for soul connection, a would-be syllabus for doctoral studies and personal recovery. With Forrest's guidance, I'm gratefully experiencing life after lust. I know this book will help others down this same path to healing. Anonymous recovering sex addict, former pastor of MDiv. Forrest Benedict, LMFT, SATP, licensed marriage and family therapist and sex addiction therapy provider, sex addiction treatment provider, has written a powerful and timely must-read book for anyone struggling with pornography addiction. Read this book, learn from a professional who has been there, and let it change your life. Stacy B. Thacker, LMFT, Rubicek and Thacker Counseling, Lifestar of the Central Valley, co-founder of Lifestyle Transformation, a treatment program for food addiction. Forrest's passion for helping those trapped in the chains of lust is epic. His willingness to be vulnerable and authentic as he shares his own story of recovery provides hope for those who believe there is no hope. The tools, insights, and guidelines provided in Life After Lust are a true gem. Troy Love, licensed clinical social worker, LCSW, Lifestar of Yuma, Arizona. As an addict in recovery, a father, and a therapist, Forrest shares experience and insights in his book that highlights key principles of healthy living. As such, Life After Lust is not just a book that benefits those struggling with sexual addiction. My invitation is for parents and others concerned about the risks associated with raising children in a digital world. To read this book, Forrest's honest storytelling and professional perspectives offer gems of wisdom that can help you be a better parent and person. I'm grateful to Forrest for his willingness to share his story to help others know not just how to heal from addiction, but also how to prevent it. Deliberate, connected, purposeful living is the key. Raising children in this way, I believe we have the chance to turn the tide on the plague of pornography impacting our young people today. Michelle Linford, Executive Director, EPIK, Deliberate Digital Kids. As a recovering female sex addict, I deeply appreciate the honesty and openness Forrest models in his book, Life After Lust. As female addicts, we spend most of our lives hiding in shame, thinking something is wrong with us. The truth is, we are just like Forrest. Life After Lust is a great resource with real stories of real struggles, providing real hope. Anonymous recovering female sex addict. Coming alongside Forrest in our mutual battle against pornography addiction has been both a blessing and an honor. Our recovery stories are very similar. We both started using pornography at a young age and have both found freedom from the lies, the shame, and the guilt. Forrest's passion for helping others find freedom has led him to his career path as a sex addiction therapist and fueled his writing of Life After Lust. This book is amazing. In it, Forrest presents a recovery roadmap that I truly believe will be a key factor in helping many men and women experience recovery. I cannot wait to hear the success stories of those who have not only read Life After Lust, but applied the principles to their daily life, experiencing lasting freedom from the grips of pornography addiction. Stuart Tutt, recovering pornography addict, blogger at Something to Stew Over, founder of Resurrecting the Redeemed from Porn Addiction. I just like the page. Bob likes it. Or this Joshua Casillas. I wonder who Bob is. Someone I know? I don't know. Who's It must be someone in the group, dude. I don't know who that is. And this guy Mike Mendes is a friend. I don't know. But I'm liking it, dude. I have had the pleasure of knowing Forrest for more than 10 years, but I have also enjoyed working with him in the field of sexual addiction. Before his career started, I saw him not only pursue recovery with great alacrity, but I also witnessed his transformation into someone with amazing integrity. He lived and breathed recovery to the point where he decided to become a therapist and help others out of the bondage of sexual addiction. The old adage, "there is no healer like a wounded healer," rings quite true with Forrest. He has endeavored arduously to come out of the proverbial pit. He found a way out, and now he wants to share his triumph with others. I'm proud to work alongside this gifted writer and therapist, but more importantly, I'm proud to call him my friend. Invia A. Bed-Joseph, doctors in psychology, PsyD, LMFT licensed marriage and family therapist, CSAT adage, clinic certified sex addiction therapist, adage. A great satisfaction for a teacher is when the student not only excels in the acquisition of the material, but also exceeds in its application. Forrest has done just that with his career, his writings, and now Life After Lust. The book is a skillful and compassionate use of his journey, offering the reader the opportunity to identify and then choose to use this information for their personal recovery. Forrest organizes the material into the 3 M's of mindset, mastery, and mission. Punching the truths home. There is no way to avoid the destructive realities of sex addiction, but the reader is not left in misery. Hope comes through understanding the nature of the problem, which is then reinforced with action items for recovery. The final section of the book, called The Recovery Roadmap, is a masterful addition, which supports the addict into long-term recovery beyond successful sobriety by practicing the tools of change. This section is also ideal for an aftercare group. Forrest, you have given the recovering a community a gift. On their behalf, I say thank you. Well done. You've made this teacher proud. Mary Ann Fifield, DMFT, CAS, CSAT, founding director of the Addiction Recovery Center in San Jose, California. It's doctorate of marriage and family therapy. She's got a doctor's in it. So I think it could mean a certified addiction something. I don't know. A certificate of advanced study. Then a certified sex addiction therapist. San Jose, California. Life After Lust is an excellent resource for those wanting freedom from pornography addiction. This book also prepares men and women to fight for love in their personal relationships while working to change the world we live in. Clay Olson, CEO and co-founder of Fight the New Drug. I actually already subscribed to that in the past. Dedication for my children, clients, and students. I believe in you. So that's enough for now. Just looked into all the doctorates and degrees and all the people what they had to say about the book. So I'll get into more tomorrow.